Peace and blessings, everyone. So I finally made it through my preliminary hearing on Friday, which consists of the DA making a case of why I should be taken to trial and charged, and then my defender making a case why I shouldn't be taken to trial and charged. So after everything was given, both sides gave their case. You know, the judge ruled and deemed that I was guilty of the charges being brought against me, and thus I'm going to stand trial. My arraignment is on the 21st of this month, which I guess is just a thing of more formal charging, getting it all down and in the papers and everything and whatnot. So a couple things I took from that. Really, it always comes down to the injustice that is within our system, the flaws that is within our system. Because, like I said, both sides bring their case, and so it comes down to the judge deciding whether or not he thinks something is warranted. And so it's what happens is it allows for the moving away from truth. Right? The DA brings in, you know, his witnesses, his evidence, whatnot. Like he had a police officer that came out and originally took my statement and arrested me. Took his statement about things that happened that day and everything. And then of course my lawyer tries to counter in some way. But it's still, listen to those things, it's a lot of opinion mixed in there. And also allows for biasness, all right? The judge could decide that he wants me to go to trial just because I'm black, just because I look different in wearing my alb, just because of my name. I mean, this is literally what can be done, and I'm sure it has been done in the past, and we don't know. And that's the thing, we don't know. It could have transpired Friday. There's a which brings to mind, there's a, I don't know if you're aware of this book Blink, the second book from Malcolm Gladwell, The Tipping Point. And actually I spoke about the tipping point before, but in Blink he talks about our snap judgments, and how usually that first initial judgment is usually right a lot of times. It happens subconsciously without us really being aware of what's going on, but we know something, if you will. You can tell something, just real quick, and then later on we'll think about things or something, another matter, and it might change. But usually, our first instinct is usually right. But how this applies, to me, he talks about, at the end of the book, he talks about how there's this orchestra, and I forget where, I want to say over in Europe or somewhere like that, and how right now, well, it had to be set up where anyone who auditioned for the orchestra, it had to be a blind audition, meaning the person playing the instrument was behind a veil, a curtain, and the judges, people who were making the decision of whether or not they could play in the orchestra, had to listen to it behind this veil. The reason why is because they realized there was bias in the judges seeing the musicians, specifically against women. It had been held that women couldn't play certain instruments, that they could never be any good just because they were a woman, because they didn't have the lungs to play a tuba or something. And so the judges all automatically negated any possibility of a woman making the orchestra. And I spoke of how a specific case where they would listen to this music playing, and it was just, they were blown away by the playing. It was just like they were blown away. It was so good. And then when the musician came out, it was a woman, and they were like, no way, and they couldn't believe it. And so it really changed how other orchestras started doing it and realizing the need for that because of biasness that were, I don't know, ingrained from upbringing or for whatever reason. And for me, that's what needs to be explored in our own judicial system, because it exists. It exists when the judge is going to make the decision, and it exists when the jury looks at the person. You know, oh yeah, another nigga, send him up. So, I mean, this has to be examined and explored, and because of the truth of it, right? The truth of it, bringing truth into a judicial system and the flaws of it. And actually, on this day in which Michael Vick received his sentence, the prosecutors asked for a certain amount of time that they would like the judge to give. Now the rules, the law stipulated that Vick could serve up to 5 years. The DA, the prosecutor, was asking, I think like, I want to say 16, 18 months or something like that. Excuse me. Well, the judge made his own decision, his opinion, and felt that, I think that Michael Vick had tried to hide something or whatnot. Once again, he made his own decision, his own opinion, and so he sentenced Michael Vick to 23 months. Once again, it moves and doesn't focus on the truth when you start bringing in your opinions and thoughts and feelings. Just think if he was... the judge could have sentenced Michael Vick up to 5 years just because he wanted to. Just for GP, it's because he was in a bad mood that day, and that's just not just. It's not a just system. So just because he could have been in a bad mood today and say, well, you know what, I'm giving you 5, because that's what I can do, and that's not a just system. It's just not. It's just always at the whim of what somebody decided they want to do that day, whether they woke up on the wrong side of the bed or not. It's not just, and it's not fair. So, like I said, I have my arraignment 21st, and then I don't know. I guess when I'm being told it'll be time before my trial actually starts. Because courts are already backed up as it is, and so we'll see. It's be interesting. And I guess you'll really be able to see. I was thinking you'll really be able to be with me in this time of me going through this. And I'm gonna ask if I can even have my trial videotape. I'm figuring the judge gonna say no, but I don't know why to say no. It should be my right to videotape my own trial. It's mine. But you'll get to see this as I go through this, and when I'm finally sentenced, and if I'm found guilty by the jury, which brings another issue of my peers. It's highly unlikely to actually get a jury of my peers, which would be black people, with my same ideology, my same thoughts and beliefs, my same what it is I do as a profession, which more than anything is ministry. I'm an entrepreneur, political activist, father. I'm all that, and it's highly unlikely where I live I'll get that. It'll be made up of whites. Maybe a Latino or two might sneak in, but so where is the justice now? It's supposed to be a jury of my peers, but I won't get that. Why is that allowed? I lost where I was initially talking about. So I think I'm just saying you'll get to see, what happens, and where it goes. I guess that's it. God bless everyone. Peace and love.